What do you do, ladies and gentlemen? It is Triple DS. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. A little low. We have completed the regular season pick'ems on this channel. Myself, I went 182 and 86 throughout all 18 weeks. Initially, I was gonna end the pick'ems with regular season, but you know, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the playoff games. Out of the 6 games, 3 of them are actually divisional matchups, and you know what I say about divisional games. Anything can happen. So in this video, I will give you my picks for the wild card, as well as my prediction on how the season will turn out. So sit back, relax, as we make our picks for the 2022 wild card game. And we're gonna start off on Saturday afternoon when the Seahawks take on the 49ers. I'm a big fan of the comeback player of the year in Geno Smith. I think he has had a tremendous redemption story. Really, the Seahawks in general overachieved this year. This is a team that was pegged to win 3 or 4, maybe at best 5 games, but here they are in the thick of it, going up against their bitter rivals in the Niners. When Jimmy G went down, it seemed like all hope was lost for the 49ers, but Brock Purdy, since he's taken over, is actually undefeated. He's gonna have to remain undefeated through the postseason for the Niners to win a Super Bowl. But as I always say with this Niners team, when you have the likes of a Christian McCaffrey, when you have the likes of a Deebo Samuel who is back in the lineup, George Kittle who is now, you know, not just the blocking tight end he was at the beginning of the year, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, you know, you don't gotta do much. Geno Smith, the last 2 times he has played against the Niners, has definitely struggled. I don't see why this would be any different. Yeah, you got Metcalf, yeah, you got Lockett, but that defense, man, anyone looks bad against this 49ers defense. Because of how Geno has stumbled against this 49ers defense twice now in this season, there's no way that I can't take the Niners. Give me the 49ers advancing to the divisional round. The Seahawks will play as hard as they can, but ultimately I think this is going to be a loss by about 10 points, and they're going to be the first team to go home in the playoffs. Up next is the LA Chargers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday night. This is the debut of Justin Herbert. This is also the debut of Trevor Lawrence. Between the 2 quarterbacks, there is more pressure on Herbert considering he's been in the league longer, and the Jacksonville Jaguars were never supposed to be here this year. What keeps them alive is that offense. Trevor Lawrence has come alive. Christian Kirk is proving that he's actually worth every penny. Evan Ingram is gonna be playing for a contract. This will be a true test for the Jaguars, because although they did beat the Cowboys, we will give them that over this course of this winning streak, they've been playing teams that have been struggling. The aforementioned Jets, Titans, and Texans all come into the picture. So what's gonna happen now when the likes of Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, and everyone else, what's gonna happen when they come into town? I believe in Doug Peterson. He's the one guy out of all of this that has the experience. He's the one that's gone on the run. He's the one that has a Super Bowl under his belt, and I think his experience will play a huge factor in this one. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Jacksonville Jaguars will take this one at home, eliminating the Chargers and giving them question marks of their head coach of their own. Justin Herbert will have a great day, but Trevor Lawrence is gonna prove why he was #1 for a reason in this one. Jaguars advance, Chargers are the second team eliminated. Alright, now we move on to our first game on Sunday. This is the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills. I think this is going to be one of those games where I'm going to spend the least amount of time on. The Dolphins barely squeaked by the Jets. Yes, granted, they got 11 points, and their defense held the Jets down to 6 points, but the Jets' offense has been lost. It's been a ghost town since, I don't know, like week 13 or something like that. The Miami Dolphins will not have Tua. Even when they had Tua, the Bills came away with the win last time in Orchard Park. Need I remind you that the Bills with Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and everyone else are playing with a real purpose, an extra layer of toughness and grit for DeMar Hamlin as well. This may be a blowout, ladies and gentlemen. As much as I want to say I like Skylar Thompson, I don't think, look, he's a 3rd stringer for a reason. Although you do got Hill, Waddle, and Gesicki on the offensive side of the Dolphins, and their defense isn't that bad. The Buffalo Bills all around are better on offense. I think they're better on defense. They even proved last week they're better on special teams than most teams. If Tua was playing, I might make a case more for the Dolphins in this one, but I can't go against Buffalo at home. I think the Bills will take this one. While the Bills advance, Miami becomes the 3rd team eliminated in my pick'em. Here now we have the Minnesota Vikings hosting the New York Giants. Out of all the games, this one has upset alert screaming at it the absolute most. The last time that these 2 teams played, the Vikings barely squeaked by this New York Giants team. Every single time that the Vikings have lost, the key has been that they have contained Justin Jefferson. The Giants need to do everything in their power. You can even let Cook go, Hawkinson go, Thielen go. If you contain Justin Justin Jefferson. The Vikings are a completely different team. I cannot tell you how many times I need to say this. They proved it again, I think 2 weeks back when the Packers played them. Do I believe the Giants have someone that is capable of taking him one-on-one? Probably not, but that's why you're going to have to double him. And don't get it twisted, y'all. The Giants have made the dance, but they have been a very up and down team. They have good streaks, but then they have bad slumps. But you know what? Danny Dimes is in the playoffs, y'all. Saquon's in the playoffs. Kenny got playoff Galladay is here, y'all. The Vikings have had a great offense. However, when you shut it down, that's it. That's all they got. Their defense is among the worst. Yes, they made that great comeback against the Indianapolis Colts, but you forget that putrid offense of the Indianapolis Colts still put up 33 points in the first half. That's still insane, right? I think this will come down to Saquon Barkley, and I think that he goes off against this Vikings defense. I think Kirk Cousins, prime Kirk Cousins, it doesn't matter if it's 12 o'clock, this is prime time Kirk Cousins here. I think the Vikings will struggle in this one, and although I feel like they will put up a decent amount of points nonetheless, I think Saquon Barkley really shows out in this one and makes a statement in this playoff run. It may not be a blowout, but I'm gonna go with the road team, y'all. I'm gonna take Danny Dimes, Kenny Galladay, and Brian Daboll taking this one on the road. They will eliminate the Minnesota Vikings, and they will advance to the divisional round, y'all. This is the one that screams upset, but you know what? The Vikings have 13 wins for a reason. They might be able to get it done. To me, this was a toss-up, and I'm going to have to take the road team on this one. All right, now we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday night. Signs are pointing that Lamar Jackson may not play in this one, and while the Ravens have questions in that regard, I'm sure they've also realized that they struggle without him in the lineup. You got Dobbins and Mark Andrews back, but I don't believe that this is enough firepower to keep up with Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and everyone else. Baltimore will struggle offensively with or without Lamar Jackson, because I do believe even if he plays, he will not be 100%. I have the Bengals winning this one at home. They will advance to the next round of the playoffs. The Ravens will unfortunately go home and ask themselves what they do next about Lamar Jackson. From a Bengals perspective, all that controversy with Baltimore, I think is great. Let him walk. Let him walk. Finally, we get to the Monday night game where the Dallas Cowboys take on the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Dallas Cowboys, every single year, always say it's their time. It's their time to shine. They will win this one. This is the big one. Then they wet the bed in a game where they should be winning, but they let Sam Howell defeat them in the Washington Commander. Things are not looking bright for Jerry Jones' crew, and I do believe that the holes are finally showing on offense. Defense, they've been one of the best the entire year, but over the course of the season, slowly, I still think they're in the top 5. Do not get it twisted. But they were fighting right there with the Niners and Eagles with like the top 2 slots. And if there's one thing that Brady's Bucks can actually do, they can put up yards. If you've seen the Bucks over the last couple weeks, you've seen that Mike Evans, Godwin, and everyone else has been putting it together. Yes, Brady's Bucks have had one of the worst running attacks in the NFL, but I have a feeling that you're not going to have to run that much. If you go with play action pass, I think you have a legit chance to knock off one of the NFL's favorites to win. For the Cowboys to have a chance, I think Dak Prescott needs to limit his turnovers, but the Bucks defense is actually one of the better units in the NFL. They're in the better half echelon of the defenses. They're in the upper quadrant of the fourth quadrant. I forget how the rest of the joke goes, but hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. I have to believe that the Dak Prescott-led Cowboys are going to have some sort of resurgence. They have a lot of great wins, and I know that their secondary has been struggling. Something is telling me that Dak won't have to do much. The power dynamic of Zeke and Tony Pollard will run wild in this one. Similar to how the Giants will run all over the Vikings, I think the Cowboys will have a formula against this Bucks defense. And let's remember, yes, playoff Brady is something else, but they were 8-9 for a reason. This is a team that's been very streaky as of late, and I don't see why that would change now. I'm going to say that Dak Prescott limits his turnovers. I'm going to say that Zeke and Pollard actually have a really solid day, and CeeDee Lamb may go off just a little bit against this Bucks defense. This is going to be a very 24-20 game. I have the Cowboys taking this one on the road, avenging that week 1 loss that they had against Brady and the Bucks. And Brady will go home in the first round one more time, y'all. I think this is finally it. I think this is it for Brady, y'all. Unless he's going somewhere else, this might be it, y'all. Now, as the weeks progress, I will obviously go into a little more detail about some of these picks. For example, when the divisional round comes, I'll obviously talk about the games a little more in detail. I could be wrong in some of these wild card picks, so things could change. But I'm gonna give you guys what my prediction is for the rest of the playoff race going forward. Let's start with the AFC. The Chiefs will actually host the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not going to get too much into detail, but I'm going to predict that the Chiefs will come away with that one. They will eliminate the Jags and advance to the championship game. The Bills versus the Bengals will be a hotly contested game. This is going to be a huge emotional game considering at this point what had happened a month prior. I think people will play lights out on both sides, but there can only be one winner, y'all. And I'm going to go ahead and take the road team. I'm trying not to be a bias on this, but the Bengals have been on fire, and what we saw when they were playing the Bills in that first quarter was that the Bengals were ready. They're ready for this Buffalo defense, and they are going to prove it when they meet in this divisional round. The Bills will lose. The Bengals will advance. Moving on to the NFC, I have the Eagles taking on the Giants. I do believe that Jalen Hurts will now be closer, if not to 100%, and he's a difference maker for this Philly offense. Defensively, Philly has been a little bit struggling as of late, but I think this bye week came at a great time. I think that they will bounce back after all of the shenanigans that have happened a month prior, and they will come away with the win against their divisional rival, the Giants. As for the Cowboys taking on the Niners, I think Brock Purdy definitely needed this extra week to prepare, and I think there's too many weapons on the offensive side for the Niners. The Dallas Cowboys will be eliminated in the divisional round. Now, getting to the AFC and NFC championship game. Let's start with the NFC. The Niners will take on the Eagles. I'm gonna go ahead and actually say that the Eagles will come away with this one. Again, we can get more into detail as things come, but as it stands, my prediction is the Eagles will come away with this one. On the AFC side, finally Mahomes gets over the monkey off his back that is Joe Burrow, and they will come away with the win, advancing to the Super Bowl for, I don't know, the 4th time in 6 years. And for my Super Bowl prediction, Philly versus Kansas City. I actually am going to take the Chiefs to win it all. Jalen Hurts is going to play a great game. The Chiefs are going to play a great game. But there's a spark about Mahomes. The reason why he's the best quarterback or best player in the NFL right now. He's going to prove it in the Super Bowl against the best defense in the NFL. So my prediction is that when it's all said and done, we will have the Chiefs as your Super Bowl champion. So there you guys have it. Those are my picks for the wild card and my, I guess, light picks for the rest of the playoff field going forward. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I do like to talk about football players and their stories, their upbringings. I have one video about Derek Carr coming up soon. Hope you guys can check that out. Other than that, y'all, it's been a great year, and I can't wait for these playoffs. Until next time, or until next week, shaboy!